Hey, I'm going to get into VCV Rack here in a minute, but first I've got this script that I wanted to try and show people how they could use. I think it's pretty useful, um, and it's a bit technical. I'll try not to get too long-winded, but it's not straightforward to pin a Python script to your taskbar and be able to launch it in Windows. So, so what we got is I got this. Um, thing you type in a BPM. So like if I said, oh, I want to work at 128 BPM, how long is an eighth note? And you get 5 decimal places of accuracy, and you click it, and it's in your clipboard. So you could put that in the shape master length spot on your envelope, and then you've got or like if you want to make an 8-bar riser at 128 BPM, it tells you, oh, that's 15 seconds. So also it's got like what is the hertz value? What's the frequency to set an LFO so it moves at 16 bars at 128 BPM? Or like let's say if I'm at 144, I'll say okay, 1 bar at 144 BPM is six six tenths of a hertz. Um, or for like the oscilloscope, if you want to make the window size be 1 bar at, let's go to 120 BPM, is going to be the really easy value. So 1 bar at 120 BPM is 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. So this little X1000 is so you can copy things for the scope and some, I think, delays maybe, but by default the shape master length input is what these are for. So anyway, yeah, enough on the script. Now I know you want to use it. So the deal is, I have Windows, and Anaconda Python distribution is the best uh, distribution. So I don't advise using the Windows Store Python. Like if you go to your console and you type py, it's gonna be like, oh, I deleted that. Yeah, but I think it tries to take you to the Windows Store, or maybe I just type Python. Yep, look, the Windows Store opens up. Don't do this one. Um, well, you could. I don't want to tell you what to do. But so Anaconda, you go to the Anaconda website, download Anaconda, then you've got that's you just follow their instructions. You got that. So that's what I use, and so I'm gonna go to the place that this thing exists. So it's a Python script. It's tkinter, and I think maybe I'm not sure why I was saying not to use Windows Store Python, but it might be that it doesn't have tkinter, or it might be that it just sucks and Anaconda's better. But so yeah, so what we're going to do is be able to run this like without having to go to the terminal, and even if you're in the Windows terminal, then you have to activate Anaconda. So it's like all these extra commands to just be able to run a script, and you want to be able to double click it. So that's where this batch file comes in. Let me get this Vim open here. So make a command is another shortcut for a batch file. It's basically the same thing. So I've got a command that adds Anaconda to the path, and you have to know where your Anaconda is. That Anacon tilde1 is the old DOS method of like 8-character file names. So it will find it will have anaconda on the path, and then you tell the Python home to be anaconda, so that when you're, I guess when you're running Python, that it knows where to look for its libraries and stuff. Not sure what Python home does exactly, but you need the you need to have anaconda's stuff on your path, and then once you have that, you can call conda, and so you say conda activate, and then whatever terminal is running this has the anaconda environment set up, and so then you can run the Python. So that's going to Python home is going to be pointing to the anaconda directory, and it'll find the Python w.exe. W is for like I'm not sure, windowless maybe, or it's W. Yeah. Anyway, so there's the script. So we can double click this command, and we got this. And so here's that window with the terminal that we set up with all that, but we don't want to see it. So to get rid of that, you need another script. And did I tell you this is convoluted already? Did I mention that? So Visual Basic turned out to be the only. This took like 2 weeks to figure. A couple years ago, I was just determined there had to be a way to run a Python script without that stupid extra window. And there's lots of like start/B. People are all like, "Oh, it's easy." No, it doesn't work. This is the only way I could find, and I've tried everything on Stack Overflow, including compiling my own C# launcher it's like not very flexible, but this works. So Visual Basic has a create object command method or whatever. So we're creating a WScript shell, calling its run. The argument is the command file we want to run, and then 0, true tells it to hide the window. One of those does. I'm not sure what all this. Maybe the true is like return true, or the 0 is visible. Whatever. So that gets it done to where you can click this VBS script, and it will launch the command, and it will run the Python script. So I click the VBS, and that's what I have pinned on my taskbar. But not directly. You can't just pin a VBS to your taskbar. So that was the next impasse I was at for a while. Here is how to pin non-executables to your taskbar. So what we're going to do is going to go to the desktop, make a new text document, and we're going to rename it to be an exe. So I'll call it like foobar.exe. It'll yell at you. Okay, so here's the exe. And now we create a shortcut. So go to create shortcut. This is the shortcut to the dummy executable. In this shortcut, go to properties. You can see where it's pointing to the target and a starting directory. And we can change the icon. Yeah, I know. So let's choose an icon. I'm going to choose this red thing. And then say apply. And, well, will you look at that? It took effect on the first try. Usually it takes 2 tries, but, okay. So now you've got this shortcut to an exe that is not really an exe, but then you can pin that to your taskbar. And then you right-click it, right-click shortcut, go to properties, and change target and starting directory. So target, well, we'll do starting directory first. So I'm going to copy this and put it in the starting, make that the starting directory, and then the target, and then slash, it comes up with, what? I don't know what all the things are on this list. Oh, right, license, readme, screenshot, the command, the Python, the VBS. So I'm pointing it to the Visual Basic script. Click apply. I don't need these guys anymore, actually. On the desktop, they're done. And so now let's test this red thing. Yay! So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to know, I guess, if you write Python scripts and you ever wanted to pin them, now you know how to get it without all that extra window stuff. And maybe someday Microsoft will decide to make things easier for people who program without Visual Studio. But until then, you got to do like 17 extra steps. So yeah, let me go ahead and go to the GitHub repository for that thing. Is it on the list? There it is. So github.com/distractor/tkbpmmshz, and there's the thing. So I've kind of gave a explanation of what the command and the Visual Basic are. If you're not using Anaconda Python, you may have to edit your those shortcut files. And if you're on Linux or Mac, then you don't have the problem that we have here in Windows of just double clicking the Python. Like maybe in Linux you need to make a launcher. Maybe in Mac you need to make a, I don't know, a plist file, or there's got to be a way. But yeah, I don't remember it being difficult when I was on those platforms. So, all right, so it's perhaps useful to like 1 out of 100 VCV Rack users that want to have like millisecond accuracy on their ShapeMaster envelopes. But so there you go. And while you're at it, if you end up doing this, I thought I'd point out I have one other script on my GitHub. It's Brian Eno's Oblique Strategies card game. And if you want a little bit of inspiration, this is what Brian Eno did. So I figure if it's good enough for him, it's just like an oracle with some preset phrases that were taken from like a 1978 card game or something. And so, you're working on a patch and you're like, what do I do now? Don't break the silence. Oh, well, okay. So if you're working on a patch, you probably have silence broken. Is it finished? I don't know. Where is the edge? I don't know. Let me see if one of these assemble some of the instruments in a group and treat the. Yeah, I didn't put any fancy text handling here. So someday I will learn to make a GUI that doesn't suck, but repetition is a form of change. Okay, I can dig it. Change instrument roles. Oh, yeah. What if we switch the kick and the bass? Or feedback recordings into an acoustic situation. Ooh, now that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's do it. Reverse. Yes. Back up. Do that feedback thing. Imagine the music as a moving chain or caterpillar. Why, I already do. Be extravagant. Okay. Come on. Honor thy error as a hidden intention. Boy, if I didn't do that, I would be nowhere. Short circuit. How are we going to short circuit VCV Rack? Short circuit. It was a good movie. Give the game away. Give the game away. All right, shut up. Be less critical more often. That's great advice. Let's stick with that one. All right, so now I'm going to use my milliseconds calculator. And so I don't know what I have going on here. Yeah, this. I've been trying to learn how to use Tracker. It's very it's great. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but you have to stop the clock to edit the timeline and do like some things. So in a like improvisational setting, Tracker's not what you're looking for. So I guess I'll just save this. It was sort of a half-assed attempt at something. And we'll start with something new. Where are we at? 16 minutes. Well, that wasn't too bad. Okay. So here's my calculator. And I'm going to pick the same BPM I always do because I have some samples in a folder that fit that BPM. And just in case I decide to use samples, like loops and stuff, then I can. So I want the 8th note at 144. That's 0.208 of a second, or 208 milliseconds. And there's a calculator in VCV Rack, but it's only 2 decimal places of accuracy, and ShapeMaster will hold 5. So I just made it. That's basically the whole reason I made that script. It's like, hey, I can have more decimal places. Why not? So paste 0.208333. Okay, so it only holds 5, but I gave it 6. Anyway, so you put your length and you set trigger to trigger, and then you copy the channel. It saves going and doing the paste and stuff multiple times. So then I'm going to paste on 2 and 3. So I've got three envelopes, same length. First envelope is a pitch envelope, something like in this neighborhood has been working for me. You got to adjust once you get your bass going. There's a lot of variation moving these points just slightly. So the second one is your amplitude. And so like a fishtail, that's your fishtail, but you want to move this first point off a little bit. So like straight up and down. If you take it, the farther you take it off, the less click you have, and you can even kind of take it. Like this sounds pretty good. This is like depending on what type of kick you want, more or less clicky. And then you kind of this little dip here takes out a lot of the thunk or the womp, and then you've got the body of the kick here and the tail. So like a short kick, you can just put that there, or you can have like a little bit of a tail or a long kick. So we'll play with all that. And then this or this, there's a lot of variation to play with. But so let's try something like this, and then go to the third envelope, which is going to be our trigger for the oscillator to reset or sync. Yeah. And it's just a short gate. So next, we want to have something that'll generate a sine wave. Generate a sine wave with palm loop is my usual go-to sine wave generator. VCO Lab has phase, so can adjust it a little bit, but this is good enough. You can always just change the phase on the base if you're worried about that. So I'm going to take the CV. The first envelope goes into the exponential FM, and you turn that up. The trigger goes into the reset. The sine wave output goes over here on the VCA input, and then this goes to a channel in the mixer. So now we want, I don't know. I guess I'm going to do gate 64. I'm predictable like that. So hook the clock up to 16th notes, and then take the gate 1, 2, 3, and start putting some triggers in there. So there's that. Let's get a bass also. VCO Lab. Some envelopes. I like the ADSR from MSM because of all the curve control, and looking at them on a scope. I tried a lot of different envelopes, and now the Nisthi envelopes are also like this, but they don't have as many controls. So this is pretty much my favorite envelope of all. So much I'm going to need 3 of them. 1 is for the kick, 2 are for the bass, and a VCF. Sugar Mice is an 18 decibel per octave that is perfect for this job. So we're going to take the first ADSR to control the mix level. So we have like a VCA. There's a VCA here in our VCO, and you want to turn that CV up, and then you want to turn the sawtooth up here. Or if you click this light, turn it blue, hook the wire up here, and use both of them here. You can do that, but this way you can have the choice to mix in other waveforms into your mix. So like this, that, and that for that. So the next envelope is going to be the cutoff. So I'm going to turn that CV up and turn that down a little bit. Our ADSRs need their attack off, and first one's fine. Second one, let's take the sustain down. So it's just like the first part, and you'll mess with this, you'll mess with that, and you'll mess with that. So I usually bring it down just an imperceptible amount, and that's usually what I like. So next we hook the gates up to sync on the VCO and the gates on the envelopes. And then we need to take the mix into the filter and the filter to the mixer. And we'll give it a listen. Turn the octave down. So let's see what this is like. Let me take a little pause for a minute here and get stroke out. Because the more I use this thing, the more I get used to it, and you should probably check it out. So you can take this. I'm using the wrong clock, I think. Let's see if it works on this clock. So you right click there, press space bar, learn and space bar. So now it works like a normal DAW. You can press your space bar, just click in the background somewhere, and then your space bar works to start and stop. So the reason I'm using this thing is because this knob right here, listen to the click. can't really hear much. This click. Yeah, it's easier to tell when you have more of a cutoff. So you adjust your phase until you hear more of a click, or less of a click if that's what you want. But so I might even try going down another octave. And if you want like want a little inspiration on the tone there to get some weird stuff going on, I'm gonna take a crossfade and output so we can control that knob. Offset, not output. So the offset is to control. Hey, now, come on back. Whoops. The offset is to control this VCV parameter. You turn it up and then hook the offset in there. So now this knob controls that. And what PEQ is like as far as equalizers go, I guess like there's better ones. I don't know some equalizers have probably a different way of like deriving their, like it's like if it's a curve and it's applied as one step, or if each one is a filter and then you just sum everything back. So it's like you break it down, filter, split into all these bands, and then recombine it. In between each band, there's going to be phase interference. And so you get a lot of that with this, which is good, actually, if you're trying to make really weird sounds. So I'm going to take the sound. So the mixer, the filter out is now the mixer out. So we take the filter and go into the A on the crossfade and into the EQ, out of the EQ back into the B on the crossfade. So now we filter between clean, A and B, between clean and what this thing does. So we'll take a listen and I'll adjust some of these. Also, you probably want to turn that curve that way. This, at the straight up position, you're always going to be a little like in between, like the volume is different. So this is what I like. And so like if you want just a little bit of the sound, like it's right there, in like these are the regions that it's like, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit less. Bandwidth, when you change the bandwidth, that's when you get more of the either missing, you get gaps in between the bands with when you lower the bandwidth, so it's more like a bunch of bandpass filters. Or if you turn it up, then you get all this phase cancellation going on, and it just sounds crazy. Oh, I didn't even hook up this sidechain envelope. So let me take the gate that's driving these kicks and hook it up to this envelope. Come out here to come out of the inverted input output and to go to the mixer with that. So I have this little triangle, and we'll take the attack down and the sustain down, and we'll play with the decay, release, and the shapes. All right, so you can see you can get a lot of variations there. It's changing between galloping and rolling for the most part. And this weird, I don't know what that. It's basically like a disperser. Like the kilohertz disperser is an all pass with some fancy interface, and that's what you got. Basically, the bandwidth and the offset control of your disperser, and I don't know, is there a mix knob on the disperser? Well, yeah. So yeah, this right here set up with the offset and the PEQ is like a kilohertz disperser. Good to know, eh? So yeah, now I'm lost, and it's 1,000,000 degrees where I am. So I don't have the stamina to keep sweating and just dying for much longer. I think I will cut it short and make this like short and sweet. Otherwise, the next educational event might be like an hour away. So I hope you learned something. And if you didn't, well, I'm sorry for wasting your time.